Hi everybody. It's nice to be outside again. Spring is here. I just got back from a run and I had some thoughts while I was running and I was like, oh, I gotta make a video about that. So I was listening to a health call on my headphones as I was running, and they were talking about health consults, which is a really great idea, and stay tuned for more information on that because I think a lot of people could be helped by that. They're talking about people and how they feel, and how a lot of times once you start talking to people about their health and they start answering questions about their daily habits, their energy levels, stress levels, things like that, they start to realize that maybe their level of health that they thought they were maybe isn't accurate. Maybe because they've been feeling a certain way for so long that they might not even recognize it anymore. And then that kind of ties into this other part of my life right now where I'm reading this book and they're talking about your inner mentor, which, long story short, is pretty much like how you'd be 20 years from now. So they ask you to, turn off the lights, close your eyes, kind of picture what that looks like, what your future self is. And when I'm thinking about it, I'm like, okay, she's stylish, she's calm, she's peaceful, she lives in a beautiful home, she reads a lot, she's in great physical condition, she does yoga, and she became really good at golf over the last 20 years. And that's kind of how I'm picturing my future self. So when you actually combine these two ideas together, it got me thinking. So let's say you look at where you are right now, and then you kind of take all of those little milestone steps to 20 years from now. What does your health look like in 20 years? So let's say you're 34, let's say your stress level is an 11, your energy level is a 6, and you're about 10 to 15 pounds overweight. What does that look like 20 years from now? If you continue to gain weight, it's going to be harder to lose it as you get older. Your sugar levels are going to be high. You're going to be at risk for diabetes. Stress is horrible on your body, which devastates your immune system. Energy level being low at 34, think of how that's going to be at 54. And we have a tendency to think about our health in a very short-sighted way. That's why 16-year-olds start smoking cigarettes, because they don't worry about what they're going to be like at 55. In their mind, they're still kind of that invincible age where nothing bad's going to happen to them. Then you're in your 20s and it's all about having fun. So you forget about staying up till 3 o'clock in the morning, drinking way too much, eating Jimmy John's at 2 when you come home, things like that. It's very, very short-sighted in how you're thinking about your health. You can always just hit the gym the next day, and when you're 20 years old, what's the difference, And then when you're in your 30s, especially women, start to think about, well, I'm a young mom, and of course I'm exhausted, and of course I feel like crap every single day. That's just part of the deal. It's not. That's a myth, by the way. And then with men, it's like, because your health declines so slowly, you don't realize the whole I'm not 18 anymore thing. The things that you were doing when you're 18, now all of a sudden it's like, oh gosh, I have a belly. Oh gosh, when did I become a 36 size waist? Or whatever it may be. I'm just making up things here because I'm obviously not a man. And you guys, some of you do, but I'd say, in comparison to women, the body image issues aren't there as strongly. And so all of a sudden it's like, whoa, look at me now compared to how I was in college. And then, so what I'm asking you to do is think about where you are now versus how you're going to be when you're in your 50s. How many medications are you going to be on? How much exercise are you going to be getting? How are you going to be eating? What do you look like? How much weight have you gained over the last 20 years with these same habits that you're having now? How is your heart? Are you taking care of it now? Or are you waiting for a doctor to say in your 50s, this doesn't look good, we got to put you in for some testing? So I didn't mean to be, morbid or make anybody depressed, but I thought that was you can look at it in two ways. That can either depress you or can totally empower and inspire you. So it's still kind of in the works. I'm still doing some training and some thinking about it, but one of the things I'm going to start doing is health consults, where we go through all these things and we go through a questionnaire and we go through your health and what you're eating and what your habits are, and we can take a closer look at where you are now versus where you want to be, and where you want to be 10 years from now, 20 years from now. Because if you're not thinking about it now, when are you going to start thinking about it? I work with a lot of people in my day job of massage therapy. A huge part of my clientele is between the ages of like 50 and 65. I'd say 70% women, but men too. And I would say almost every single one of them says, I wish I would have thought about this more when I was younger. I wish I would have worked harder at this when I was younger. I wish I wouldn't have let myself go in my 30s. I wish I would have thought more about the foods I was eating when I was 30. I wish I would have started running when I was 30 and not waited till I was, 51. There's a lot of stories like that, so let's learn from that. Let's learn from them. Let's start thinking about it now. What are the habits that you have now that you need to change to make sure that 20-year-old is banging, or 20 years from now, body is banging, and you're happy and full of energy and running around with your grandkids versus laying on the couch wishing you took better care of yourself. So that's my thoughts. Let's get inspired. Let's get motivated. Let's make some changes.